Imagine this. You're in the middle of a match. The cameras are focused on Messi, and only a few meters away there's a Colombian who can't stop looking at him. And not just any Colombian. He's a soccer player. He's Luis Díaz. And he's not there to ask for a jersey. He's playing against him, representing Colombia, but with his heart beating harder than ever. How does someone face their idol without losing their mind? This is how a story begins that isn't just about football. It's about admiration, about dreams that collide, and about that exact moment where the past and the present crash into each other right in the middle of the pitch. Luis Díaz says it without hesitation. He was left speechless, a reaction many fans have when they come face to face with Messi. But in this case, it didn't come from the stands. It came from the field, from the elite. Because when he had the chance to share the pitch with him, the young man born in La Guajira didn't just face him as a rival. He lived it as a moment of personal consecration. He told me beautiful things. He congratulated me. Who can say that? How many players have been blessed with words from number 10, as if they were spells granting you another football life? And what seemed like just a casual encounter ends up being the perfect portrait of Díaz's evolution, from watching Messi videos as a teenager to finishing as joint top scorer with him in the Copa America. One for Messi, one for Díaz. Ironic, right? Sharing a podium with the man you admired as a kid, as if life were telling you, yes, you're ready, you're part of the story. Díaz lives football the way a fan does, but with the jersey on. He celebrates in Brazil, he suffers in Liverpool, he shows respect on every field he steps on. And today, the path has led him into the heart of German football. Luis Díaz is the new Bayern Munich player. New stage, same passion, but now in the Allianz Arena, sharing a locker room with Europe's elite, looking to make his mark in a league that breathes intensity. His journey has been filled with moments that seem written by a screenwriter in love with the sport. And be careful, not everything was picture perfect. The almost year-long injury made him wobble. Mentally, he felt on the edge. But in that same dark tunnel, he found a light. His support system, his passion for the game, his love for the jersey. How many stars have collapsed without being able to get back up? How many forget that football, aside from legs, needs a mind? And here is where the second part begins. Because beyond Liverpool, beyond Munich, beyond the hugs with Messi, what Luis Díaz wants is closer to the heart than to marketing. He doesn't just want to shine in European clubs. He wants to lift a trophy with Colombia. He wants to shout champion with his people. And that, dear viewer, can't be bought. It can't be negotiated. It's something you work for and dream about. When your idol congratulates you, it doesn't mean you've arrived. It means you're starting again. And that's how Díaz lives it. He's not satisfied with club titles. He dreams of a World Cup, of a Copa America, of giving something big back to that yellow jersey that watched him grow. Football has these beautiful paradoxes. Sometimes sharing the field with your idol doesn't mean you've reached the end. It means you're just beginning another road. Díaz understood that time runs fast. That, as Casillas told him, this goes by quickly. That looking back only makes sense if what you see motivates you to keep running forward. And now I ask you, what would you do if your idol, the one you admired since you were a kid, hugged you and told you you're a crack? Would you relax? Or would you use those words as eternal fuel? Subscribe if you want us to keep telling stories like this, because every player has a story worth sharing, and you on the other side of the screen are part of that journey. In my opinion, imagine this scene. Luis Díaz, a young Colombian who once dreamed, under the heat of La Guajira, of becoming a footballer, now plays for one of the most important teams in the world. Next to him, there are no directors or fitness coaches, but a content creator asking about his most memorable moments. What could have been light conversation turns into a confession that gives you goosebumps. The last time we faced each other with our national teams, Messi hugged me, congratulated me, I was left speechless. It's not a random phrase. It's the testimony of someone who, with humility and honesty, admits he collapsed internally when standing in front of the player who made him dream. And here something deeper begins, something more profound than a simple encounter on the pitch. Díaz doesn't just describe the gesture, he gives it weight, context. He acknowledges what many players hide, the emotional impact of coming face to face with a figure that shaped your childhood. And he does it without faking greatness, because he says it with the voice of a fan, but with the resume of a professional. It's a testimony that reveals an uncomfortable truth for many in the elite. Even at the top, idols are still idols. And if we rewind the story, the bond between Messi and Diaz already had a powerful precedent, the Copa America. Same tournament, same number of goals. Messi, number 10, a shared podium, as if destiny had given them a sign. And now, 2 years later, those numbers gain body, voice, emotion, because Messi didn't ignore him. He recognized him. The scene of the hug is a symbol. It's not a passing of the torch or a coronation. It represents something much rarer in modern football: genuine respect. In a world where egos often take up more space than emotions, seeing Messi, the most admired, the most questioned, the most watched, walk up to a younger colleague and tell him, "Keep going just like that," is simply valuable. And here comes the second layer of this story. Because Diaz doesn't get stuck in that moment. He mentions it, treasures it, but keeps moving. Because while he talks about it, he also speaks of his downfalls. An injury sidelined him for almost a year. It broke him inside. He thought the unthinkable. He felt weak, but he came back, not for revenge. He came back because football, for him, still makes sense. Coming back means rebuilding yourself. Coming back means accepting that bad days don't define you, but they do shape you. And Diaz understands that, applies that, transmits that. When he speaks about his inner circle, about those who supported him, about his habit of watching old videos, you see a footballer who doesn't just play with his boots, he plays with his mind. And now, in this new chapter as a Bayern Munich player, the narrative takes another form. It's not just a club change, it's a leap into one of the most demanding teams on the planet, where the margin for error is minimal, but the emotional demand is enormous. Is he ready? It seems so, because on the day of that interview, he didn't talk about numbers or titles. He spoke about learning, about love for the game, about moments that transcend. And all of this connects to his deepest desire, to win with the Colombian national team. It's not a populist line. It's a goal that has followed him since the beginning. He says it with conviction, with pain for what hasn't happened yet, with hope for what could be. And here arises the true meaning of this story. Diaz doesn't just want to be remembered for his goals. He wants to be remembered for his impact. In times when football is becoming increasingly corporate, colder, more statistical, these words bring humanity back into the narrative. And Messi, unknowingly, also played his part. Because the hug he gave Diaz wasn't the end of a story. It was the beginning. Football lives on goals, yes, but it also lives on gestures like that. Gestures that mark a player beyond contracts, magazine covers, and praise. Messi made me believe that you can be the best in the world and still be humble. Luis Diaz said it the way great players do, but he felt it the way true, passionate fans feel it. I won't forget it, and neither should we.